house. In today's video, I want to talk a little bit about the home buying process so far and what it's been like for me and my husband. It seems to be going pretty well. We are not done yet. At this point, we have an accepted offer and our inspection is actually scheduled for tomorrow. So you won't be seeing this if the inspection goes badly. We'll see how the inspection goes first before I say to the internet that we bought a house. I just kind of want to go over what we had to provide to the bank, how we found this house, how we went to go see it, how we put the offer in, what that experience was like. Because as a first-time homebuyer, I genuinely had no idea what the process was. I was Googling things left and right, and thankfully, my husband has some connections where he knows the realtor and his sister knows the inspector, and he actually works at the bank that we're getting our financing through. So it's all pretty simple in that regard, but I feel like if this was my first time going through this and I was doing it alone, I would just be so anxious. I am still pretty anxious about it. I just feel like people need to know like really what you need, how to go into things, who to call, stuff like that. So I just want to give you my real raw experience so far. Yeah. Let's jump right into it. So I just want to start with a little background. In July, I'm looking at my laptop just so you know I have notes. But in July of 2024, we applied for a pre-approval, which is the first step to actually trying to buy a house. So you go to your financial institution or wherever you want to go and have your mortgage done through. So we ended up just going to our financial institution. My husband actually works there. We didn't do any shopping around, but a lot of people do. You shop around for a mortgage to see who will give you the best rate. Once you find the best rate that you want to go with, you'll have a pre-approval letter. They do a credit pull for like a hard credit pull to get a pre-approval. So you will see that come up on your credit report and it might drop you a couple points. I know when mine got pulled, I think I literally dropped 3 points, but it doesn't matter at this point because we're not taking out any more credit except our mortgage. So this pre-approval letter is what you'll use to prove to the seller of a house that you should be able to get the mortgage and fulfill the requirements for a mortgage and you'll be able to get the money to buy the house. So we did that for the first time in July of 2024. To get this pre-approval, you have to give the bank or whoever you're getting the mortgage through, or you plan to get the mortgage through, all of your information. Like I said, they do a hard credit pull, so they need your social security number. They also need, somewhere on the screen, I don't know where, but I will put a running list of what we had to provide. That would be 2 years of W-2s for everybody on the loan. So all of this is for my husband and I separately. We needed to provide all this. So 2 years of W-2s, 2 years of tax returns, 1 month of pay stubs. We get paid bi-weekly, so we had to provide 2 pay stubs each. All of our retirement accounts, the balances or the statements, all of our debts, balances, statements, all of our bank account balances and statements. We also had to provide a 2-year working history. Where were we employed for the last 2 years? And if it was multiple jobs, we had to provide all that information for each of the jobs. And then our 2-year residence history. So we had to provide all of that. I would say the hardest thing about gathering all this up, because I mean, I keep pretty good records. I definitely do. I keep better records now than I did in July 2024. But the hardest thing to get my hands on were the 2 years of tax returns. I actually had to pay for those. We did our taxes online and I did my taxes and I did my husband's taxes because at that point we were filing single. We weren't married. So I had to pay, I think I used TurboTax or something or H&R Block online, but I had to pay $10 or something to buy our previous year's returns because I didn't download them or keep them. I did have 2023s, but I didn't have 2022s. And obviously in this point, it was 2024, so I had to provide 2022 and 2023 for both of us. So I had to dig those up, but I was able to just log into our tax account online and purchase the old year taxes and download it and send that over. So we did get our first pre-approval letter in July of 2024. We ended up going and seeing a few houses back then, but there was only one house that we wanted to put an offer in. It was right around the corner from my mother-in-law's house, and we really liked it. It was at the time, it was at the top of our budget, but we thought it was worth it, and like we could swing it, you know? I wasn't gonna put us in a position financially where we couldn't afford it. We had put an offer in. We did not get the house. This was, summer 2022. the market was crazy. This is when it was like really exploding. No, this was not July. This was not summer 2022. This was summer 2024 when everything was going crazy and everything was so expensive. There ended up being like 4 bids on the house and we just didn't win, you know? And it was during the time where we had toured a different house and it got sold while we were in the house touring, which is insane. Our agent was like, yeah, we gotta go because this house just sold. It's just insane. So we did not end up getting that house and we decided it's too crazy out here for us right now. Our budget will get bigger later on because in our careers. Like, I needed more time. I was really new at at that time I was planning on leaving my job. So it was not, we shouldn't have been house hunting anyway. So we didn't buy a house. That worked out. We decided to wait. So the pre-approval letter is only good for 90 days, or at least the one we had was only good for 90 days. When we got that in July of 2024, it was obviously not still good for this time around. So the story of this time around, the house directly next door to my mother-in-law. So my mother-in-law lives like 25-30 minutes away in the same house that my husband grew up in. And we really like that area. We both live like less than 10 minutes away from that neighborhood. So we were really interested. Like right now we commute like 35 plus minutes in the morning and at night to and from work. So we just wanted to get closer down there, be near, you know, his mom, and his mom is like one of the primary babysitters for our niece. So we really want to be involved in like her growing up. And obviously his sister lives really close too. She only lives 10 minutes away from his mom. So we just wanted to get down there and be closer to them than where we are right now. We were told that that house was going to go on the market soon, the house right next door to my mother-in-law. The realtor for that house was like, hey, go get your pre-approval done again. This was in October 2025, so 3 months ago. She said, go get your pre-approval redone so you're ready to go as soon as they're going to put this house up. Because my thought was, you know, we could avoid putting the house on the market. We would just, you know, get a tour, get an inspection, and it would be like really easy, save everybody some money. I wouldn't say it was drama, but there was a lot of back and forth and trying to figure out like a timeline. We had gotten our pre-approval done. Everybody seemed to be like dragging their feet and we didn't know what was going to happen. And then our pre-approval was about to expire. We had like 3 days left on the pre-approval. We took another ding on our credit score. Like it was really annoying. So I was just, you know, scrolling on Zillow like I do. And this comes into the house that we just bought. So to bring us to there, we basically ended up walking away from the house right next door to my mother-in-law. It was just too much drama. And I was still, you know, scrolling on Zillow like you do, and I found a house that I really wanted to go see. It was like really calling to me. It's literally 3 minutes down the road from my mother-in-law, which no, it's not right next door. We don't share a backyard, which like we were very excited to do. I think it's like 1.1 miles or something. It's very close. I was like, hey, like, let's go see this house. So we called our agent that was going to help us get the house next door to my mother-in-law. And we said, hey, we have this house. We want to go look at it. We want to see what's up. We still have our pre-approval letter. It had like 3 days left on it. So we ended up going to see that on Saturday, the 10th of January. The agent had set up just a second house tour that day. There was one down the road in the other direction and thought it might be a good fit. And that house had literally just gone on the market. And the house that we went to look at that I picked out had been on the market for 30 days. So I'm like, okay, we have some wiggle room. That's something that I looked for all the time when I was like on Zillow. I look at, you know, how long has it been on the market? Because if it's on the market for a long time, you have more negotiating power because they probably want to sell the house. But then you're also in the back of your head, you have to be aware of that. Why has it been on the market for so long? Like what's wrong with it, you know? But that's why we're getting an inspection. That's why you don't skip those steps. So we did end up going to see those 2 houses, and Mike and I really talked it over, and because we ended up really liking the second house that we saw too, but I just thought that the first one had more potential for us. I'm the type of person where I want to get my hands in there, you know, like I don't want something to be perfectly redone and cookie cutter. I want to get in there and I want to make it my own and I want to do projects. So the second house had a lot less of that. It looked like they had put some work into it before they put it on the market. I don't know if they did. It just looked that way. And the first house was, needs updates. It's older, but it seemed to be like in really good shape, and it has more character, like crown molding and built-ins, like beautiful built-ins. So that one to me felt more like I have the opportunity to make it my own. I don't want to feel like I'm undoing somebody else's work when they just like spent money to do this. I know that happens literally all the time in houses, but it just makes me feel icky. Like somebody spent their money to just spent their money on this to redo this and make it look nice. And it does look nice. It's just not me. I want my blood, sweat, and tears to be into the house to make it mine, I don't need somebody else's. So we ended up putting an offer on the first house. So to put an offer on a house, we basically just texted our agent and we were like, hey, yeah, we want to offer on the first house. And then we talked a little bit about numbers because like I said, it was on the market for 30 days. So we did decide to come in under asking. When you present an offer to a seller, you'll talk to your agent about what you want to offer. They will write up all their paperwork. And actually, I read the entire contract, like word for word, the whole offer. It's pretty straightforward. I think anybody can kind of interpret it, although you need to have a lawyer read it over. I'm not a real estate lawyer. We do have a real estate lawyer now, obviously, because we're in this process. We told our agent what we wanted to offer, and they wrote up the offer for us. And I read it over. I made sure that it was everything that we had discussed and everything we said. We signed it. Michael and I signed it in a bunch of different places. Our agent will at that point email our offer over to the selling agent. So on the offer, you usually give a time frame that you need an answer by. And then I think we had said it was 24 hours later. So we ended up hearing back probably about 18 hours later. So the next early evening, because we ended up submitting the offer Sunday. So not Saturday. We saw the house Saturday. We submitted the offer Sunday night. And then an answer from the seller was due Monday night. And we got an answer Monday afternoon. The seller had countered our offer. So a counter offer is when they take your offer and they tweak it a little bit. They're entertaining you. This is when the negotiations start. So they took our offer. The seller took the offer and tweaked it a little bit. So what he ended up doing was he asked for a little bit more money, but not all the way back up to his original list price. And then he said he agreed to other aspects of it, but wanted the selling price to be higher. We received that back Monday afternoon. And so my husband and I talked through it and we were like, so I'm seriously a first-time home buyer. So I didn't realize that you could counter a counter offer. So when we got the counter offer back, I was like, oh, we have to either accept it or walk away. And then I had a few people had to tell me no, you can counter their counter offer. We called our agent and we were talking through what our options were, and we ended up countering we met in the middle between the two numbers, sent that in Monday night. Tuesday morning, we heard back that was accepted. So the next step from there, once we have, all of this communication from between my agent and the seller's agent happened over their emails. We weren't even on the emails. We just have to hear everything through our agent. So once we kind of verbally agreed via email, then we as the buyer have to rewrite up that offer letter. Tuesday night, our agent rewrote up the offer letter with the new terms that were agreed upon. We signed it and they sent it back over to the selling agent. Wednesday morning, we got the offer back with the seller's signature and we were officially under contract on the house. So that brings us to present day. We are officially under contract on the house from the day we saw the house, Saturday the 10th, to today. So today's the 16th. Well, we've seen the house, we've offered, we've had a counter offer, we negotiated, we got the offer accepted, and then the next step is to schedule an inspection. So The inspection usually has to be done within 10 days of having your offer accepted. And we called like immediately. I think we called we called Thursday. So the day after our offer got accepted, we called an inspector that my sister-in-law knows, and we scheduled that for Saturday at 12 p.m. That's tomorrow. We have our inspection tomorrow. When we got our signed contract, we sent that over to our financial institution, and then they requested again another month of paycheck stubs. And then they also requested, because it is after, January 1st, it's a new tax year, they said that if we have our W-2s already, we can send them over, and we do both have our W-2s for 2025, so we sent those over. I think that was it, because we gave all of those, like the big main documents, when we first got pre-approved in October. So we didn't have to give all updated stuff, because they're going to run our credit again to do like a full in-depth, obviously, to make sure that we can afford the loan. So as we speak right now, our loan is with the underwriters, who are the people who actually write it. I don't really know. They had to order an appraisal for the house. So an appraisal is when a third party comes in and evaluates the house, not for the condition of it like an inspector, but for the price of it. So an appraiser will come in and tell you what the value of the house is. So the reason that the bank orders this, the reason that they do this is because they will not give you a mortgage for an amount that is more than the home is worth. So you have to have some sort of like collateral. So if you don't pay your mortgage, then the bank will take your house. But if the house can't cover the cost of the loan, then they won't allow you to take out a loan for that much. So if I pay out $100,000 for a house, and the appraiser goes in and says, I think this house is worth $80,000, the bank will only lend me $80,000. So I would have to pay $20,000, the difference between 180, out of pocket. Because if I were to not pay on that loan of $100,000, then the bank would take the house for $80,000, and then the bank is losing $20,000. So they won't loan that much. So the bank has put the order in for the appraisal, and I don't know when that's happening. We don't go to that or anything. The bank does all of that, but we do pay for it. That was $530. So be prepared for some pre-closing expenses for your house. Yeah, speaking of expenses, we also, once we got the offer accepted, on Thursday we needed to drop off what's called the earnest deposit, which is money towards your down payment. So it doesn't have to be your whole down payment amount. It's just an amount of money that you give to the selling agent to put in an account, and that's called earnest money. It basically says, I'm serious about this. I'm gonna work and get this loan. So if something goes wrong during the inspection or while you're getting the loan and you have to walk away from the house and have to like back out of the deal, you get that earnest money back. It's also called like a good faith deposit. Thursday, we got the check and dropped that off to the seller's agent. So they have our earnest deposit. And then what was I saying? Yeah, so the appraisal already hit my account. I was $530, and fingers crossed that the house comes back appraised more than our loan. And then we have our inspection. Our inspection is $740, which is more than I thought it was going to be. But like I said, we got this guy's name from my sister-in-law, and he did her house, and we've heard great things about him. So again, fingers crossed that nothing big comes up. At that point, if something big does come up in the inspection, we can negotiate with the seller to help pay for some of the repairs that would be needed. We could walk away, or I guess we could pay for it ourselves, and fix it ourselves. I guess I don't really know because I haven't done it yet. But I'll update you. I do plan on taking you guys with me for the inspection, just give you guys like a sneak peek of the house, because we as the buyer get to go to the inspection, which is awesome. I'm really excited to just see the house again, and hopefully it all goes well. And if everything goes well on Saturday, that should be like our last like big thing until we get like the appraisal back. But I think we'll be fine there, and I think we'll be fine with the inspection too. Yeah, after the inspection, it's just like we can start packing and wait for our loan to be ready. But I'll give you guys an update. I'll tell you the second half of, I guess, the process. I'm gonna call this the first half of the process, and then the second half of the process after the inspection, I guess, because I really don't know. I really don't know what comes next. I'm learning as I go, and I just want to bring you guys along and share it with you. Because I mean, right now, it's been a whirlwind. Everything's happening very fast, and so much excitement, and I'm so excited, and it's so expensive. But it's okay. It's gonna be freaking fantastic. It's gonna be fantastic. So anyway, I hope this helped somebody somewhere just like feel a little bit better about the process, just learn something. But yeah, if you guys have any questions about the process, you know, my process and what we're doing, let me know. I'm happy to answer questions, and I plan on doing like a whole, like this is going to be a big deal where we got to pack, we have to clean this apartment, we have to move, we have to set up the whole house. We have an apartment right now, and now we have a whole house. Like, you guys will be with me. Hopefully you guys will follow along for the whole journey, because we are just getting started. That's all I have for now, and I'll update you after the inspection. Okay, thanks for watching. Love you. Bye.